Hotep, Black Power, brothers and sisters. As always, giving honor to the Creator, giving honor to the ancestors. Chief of Staff, Brother Harris Abdul, of the Street Law Soldiers, my sister, my in-laws, my father, all my subscribers, listeners, viewers, and those fighting for the liberation and salvation of our black nation. And as always, I thank you all, my subscribers, for your contributions and love offerings into the improvement, not just of my channel, but the improvement of the community. Some of you don't even live in Washington, D.C. You live out of state, you live across the country, but the Creator has allowed your contributions to help people, on the other side of the country, in other states. So your presence and your energy is felt everywhere, and I'm one who conveys your energy and transfers your energy to the people here, and vice versa. So, excuse me. And I want to give a shout out to Brother Terry Turner and his queen Lakeisha and their two C's, two strong soldiers, Trey and Tyson, for your contributions. And I appreciate you all for what you do, for the organization, the Street Law Soldiers, and what you do for the people of the streets of DC. Your contributions and love offerings are truly needed. And I just want to say, Hotep and Black Power to Trey and Tyson. I hope you hear me, and that you're able to see me send my energy to you, as well as your parents. You have wonderful parents. Stick by your parents. Love your parents. Because at the end of the day, that's all you have, brother. You may be surrounded by a community of people, which is all good, but at the end of the day, you have to thank and give honor to those who gave you life and brought you forth to this planet to be whatever you turn out to be, or to be whatever you want to be, so be thankful for that. And so what I'm going to talk about now is and furthermore, let me send some more energy out to Inez Watley, Diane Nelson, William Ivory, Gladys Holcutt. Hope that her mother's doing okay, and that Brian Simpson, you are wanted anytime, nigga. All my viewers and listeners, family members that watch my channel, and people in my neighborhood. So, we must give people their props and honors. But let me get on with the subject matter. For those who don't know, this is Ron Brown. He was Secretary of Commerce during the Clinton administration. And what happened, he was murdered. And I give honor and thanks to Brother Dick Gregory, who done the initial research to conclude that Brother Ron Brown was indeed murdered. And I'll explain why. I hope you can get I hope this picture is you can see. I'll try to move it over a little bit more. And what happened, you can see him with Slick Willie. If you may not be able to see the picture clearly, that's because of the lighting in the room. So here he is with Slick Willie, Al Gore, and another devil. And what happened when Bill Clinton was under the Whitewater scandal, he wanted Ron Brown to take the charge. Ron Brown overheard Clinton and Hillary discussing how they was going to use Ron Brown as a scapegoat, Ron Brown stormed into the White House office and stated, "I'm not taking this damn beef. You know, if I go down, we all are going down." And so Bill Clinton, with his slick devil ass, made a bogus invitation to some people in LA, put Ron Brown on the plane, and the plane crashes. You know, autopilot, pilot ejects himself. Ron Brown and several others perished in this plane. However, there was, during the investigation, it was concluded that Ron Brown had a bullet hole in the top of his head. Meaning that the pilot, once he went to autopilot, came back, shot Ron Brown in the top of the head while he was strapped in his seat, murdered him, ejected himself, and allowed the plane to crash. Excuse me. So, it was concluded that Ron Brown was shot in the top of the head. The plane crashed. And so, somehow Bill Clinton, Bill and Hillary, I call her Billary, eluded federal prosecution. You know, which ultimately led to Slick Willie, this white devil, who incarcerated more black people in the history of this country. No one has imprisoned more people, more black people in the existence of this country than Bill Clinton. But yet, we yell and jump up and down for this Democrat bullshit, this liberal bullshit. Y'all have to remember that Hillary Clinton called the black youth a super predator. You all seem to forget that. And just remember this. When you decide to vote and Hillary is on the ballot and you call yourself voting for Hillary just to get Trump out, which Trump is doing another 4, so you can forget that. But if you vote for Hillary, it's no different. Trump is 6 in one hand, Hillary Clinton is a half a dozen in the other. So it doesn't make a difference which devil you pick. And in the history of voting, we have never came off with anything. Remember that. This is Michael Brown. He did a prison term, small prison term. He was a DC councilman, and I believe he was stealing money. I'm not sure, but nevertheless, a brother of mine, a conscious comrade who's a black entrepreneur, has his own barbershop in which Michael Brown visits periodically. And when I brought to his attention about his father, he did not know that his father was murdered. He thought that his father was just in a plane crash. He did not know that his father was shot in the head. So number one, that lets you know the relationship that they had. You know, nevertheless, I haven't seen him further the investigation or seek the culprits responsible for the murder of his father. Mickey Leland, congressman in Texas, same thing with Mickey Leland. When he was putting an end to starvation in Ethiopia, his plane mysteriously crashes. The same way Ron Brown's plane crashed, Mickey Leland's plane crashed. And Mickey Leland was traveling everywhere. He was fighting apartheid and doing a lot of things, but the main thing was to stop starvation in Ethiopia. However, Ron Brown and Mickey Leland were both Boule. So don't get it twisted. They were both Boule. And for those who don't know what Boule is, Sigma Pi Phi. You have these. I'll go into that at another time. I'll do a whole video on the Boule. Now let's talk about these Cub Scouts. You know, with these homosexual den leaders and scout masters. Usually they are these childlike adults, overweight, between the ages, white, of course, between the ages of 30 and 45 years old. They still eat bubblegum and candy, keeps candy on him. He's a seasoned pedophile that wants to remain a kid, that wants to remain a child. So he wears, you know, this little boy outfit of a Boy Scout. You know, and that's just what the term means, Boy Scout. But see, for them, they're scouting boys. See, it's a big difference with these pedophiles. They're not Boy Scouts, they're scouting boys. And that's why you have an abundance of sexual abuse that takes place in the Cub Scouts as well as the Boy Scouts. Remember, you have your little boys that are 6, 7, and 8 and up. You know, that look as these scoutmasters and den mothers, you know, as major authority figures. So they will do anything that the scoutmaster says do. And usually this freak nasty shit that they do to these children takes place when they are on their annual camping trips. You know, now they want to mix the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts together. I was discussing with some people earlier about this Boy Scout, Girl Scout situation, and giving honor to Brother Terry Turner for bringing up the topic and the subject matter, in which they want to make the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts be as one. And see, this is just the embryo stages of trying to create the first transgender child. See, this is what they want to do. They want to have these boys clipped and tucked in before they reach their teenage years, preteen years. So by the time that they're 14 and 15, a boy has completely turned into a woman. You know, which is fucking despicable, you know, and horrific. Meaning that when you see all of these, you hear about all these children that are being snatched off the streets, where do you think they're taking them at? They're taking them to be tested. Taking them and they're making guinea pigs out of them in science projects. And when they fail, just like lab rats, they throw them away. And so to mix these two together, they want it to be where you won't know the boys from the girls. And so this is just some more propaganda to sexually confuse and spiritually paralyze the minds and hearts of our babies. You know, because they have to use melanated people to do these experiments on. They cannot experiment on individuals with no melanin because there's no substance, there's no concentrated levels of melanin in non-blacks. And so what they're trying to do is just gender cross. Will Smith tried it. Will and Jada tried it with their children, and they fucked Jada and what's his name? Jaden and Willow up. Fuck them up. They don't know if they're coming or going. And so they already have been experimenting with drugs, taking mollies and all this shit. That's why Jaden goes out in public, you know, with these superhero outfits on and all this bullshit. You know, because when he went, he took one of the Kardashian whores. He took them to the premiere of his movie where he starred with his father. And it was some type of in the future Jurassic Park type movie. But he wore that same outfit that he played in the movie in. It's some superhero type shit. And he took that whore, the Kardashian little baby whore, to the movies. But that's what they're trying to do, is cross these genders up. They already have it in the elementaries and the junior highs where a boy can dress up like a girl and go and use the girls' bathrooms and vice versa. And we're supposed to be okay with this perverted lifestyle. This perverted, degrading, degenerate fucking lifestyle. This savage fucking lifestyle. Which has never been in the DNA of the black man and woman. Let's talk about this hazing shit. You know, when these people are in college and they have to get paddled on their ass naked, pledging, run across campus, men in the snow with no shoes and socks on, nothing on but women's panties, and they're running from the auditorium to the fucking lunchroom. You know, some eating out of dog food bowls. You know, shit. This is just some savage Neanderthal S&M bullshit that children have to go through just to be part of these motherfucking fraternities and these sororities. Which is no fucking good. This Greek bullshit. Which take which starts in Greek mythology. Now, this punk here, he was sentenced to 6 years. I believe it was Florida A&M or Florida A&T. Khalid Jackson, you know, who was part of the drum major squad in the university, and one of the guys pledging, I believe his name is Tracy Champion, and they beat him with drumsticks. He had to run from one end of the bus to the other while the entire drum squad was hitting this boy with all types of sticks and shit. And an hour later, he died. You know, and this nigga thinks this shit is funny. You know, I hope them motherfuckers in the penitentiary, make you pledge. You know, Kappa, Alpha, Fag. You know, because this shit is not a game. This shit goes all the way back to this Roman Empire. You know, these paddles. You know, because, you know, if you notice, these devils, police especially, they love to be spanked on their naked pink asses as a way to arouse them sexually. And that comes from Julius Caesar, who had his guards spank him with paddles, and he would jump into the jacuzzi, because the jacuzzi, that's where the term, it comes from, pool, comes from Julius Caesar during the Caesarian times. And what he used to do is have all little boys in the pool. And Julius Caesar was a straight up freak. But he would have his guards spank him with paddles, to help him be sexually aroused. That's why Greco-Roman wrestling, they call it college wrestling now, where these two guys with these tights on and headgear get out on the mat in the circle, and they try to pin each other to the ground. And when you wiggle your way out of a position and get off the circle, you're penalized. And I'll tell you how that went. Because in the Roman Colosseums, which in the wrestling matches, it used to be all men in these leather skirts and their sandals. And what would happen is when one of the guys is on top of the other guys, that would arouse the audience. All the Greek freaks and Roman freaks in the Colosseum, it will give them erections, because they see one guy is fighting to get from under this guy that's on top of him, and that would arouse them sexually. And once he breaks loose from that, that will lower their sexual arousement, and the guy will be penalized. Same way in college wrestling. They call it Greco-Roman wrestling. They took this all the way into the slave trade. Because being whipped and being spanked is in the same family. And so that's where this cracker gets this shit of beating the backside of our ancestral brothers and sisters doing slavery. Now, if you can see this picture, there's two Romans fighting. Two Romans fighting, because this is what the cracker loves to do. They love to fight, and they love to have perverted sexual activity, perverted sexual behavior. This is something that they love, and this is why they rape so much. They have all these scenes where they, ass fucking rape, women. And they have no respect for women. And so even when they are in intimacy, they throw each other on the kitchen counter with cereal and sugar and fucking corn all over the kitchen counter, and they have this perverted sexual behavior. And this is where it comes from, this Greco-Roman. And they call this agape love. And you see this shit everywhere. These statues of men in excuse me, let me see if I'm quite sure you can see it now. Two men, one man, one boy, the young boy is sitting on the older man's lap. And this is all they do. This is all they do. And this is where I'm going with this. Up to these Catholic priests.